Stop sailing along. Your 20s are foundation years. Choose relationships with more wisdom. Connect with God early and stay connected. Fail differently. Use your carefree days with intention. Life is a fight, but we fight from victory. Nobody really tells you the truth about your 20s. They tell you to enjoy yourself. They tell you to explore. They tell you to find yourself. And yes, your 20s can be beautiful. They can be carefree. They can be full of laughter, friendships, energy, discovery, mistakes, memories, and moments you may never get back again. But what many people do not tell you is this: while you're leaving, you're also building. Your habits are building. Your relationships are building. Your discipline is building. Your confidence is building. Your attitude to work is building. Your relationship with God is building. Your values are building. And one day, much later in life, you will have to live inside the structure you were building when you thought you were just enjoying yourself. I am 66. I have built multiple firms over the past 30 years. I have worked, led, failed, learned, raised a lovely family, served, built, and stood in rooms I once never imagined I would stand in, all by the grace of God. And I became the second woman to serve in one of Africa's significant architecture institutes in its 66-year history. I have met with kings, presidents, ministers, and leaders from different parts of the world. But before all that, before the titles, before the firms, before the rooms, before the recognition, I was once a young woman in college, wondering if I could even continue. I was once the person sitting in class, feeling as if everybody understood what was going on except me. I was once the person struggling with one difficult course and asking myself, what is wrong? Why am I not getting this? So if I were in my 20s again, there's some things I would tell myself differently. Not because I regret my life, but because wisdom gives you an opportunity to build with fewer cracks. And whether you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, or you're simply in a season where you feel behind, confused, pressured, uncertain, I want you to listen to this, like I'm sitting across from you, not as a lecturer, not as someone trying to impress you, but as an older friend telling you the truth. Because your 20s are not a rehearsal, they are foundation years. The first thing I would tell myself is this: I would stop sailing along. When I started college, I remember feeling far behind. At the beginning, I joined the class late. I looked around and felt as if everyone understood what was going on except me. I was distressed. I thought, can I really do this? There was even a time I went to my department head and said, I did not think I could continue with the course I was studying. That's the truth. And I'm saying this because sometimes when people see the end of a person's story, they assume the beginning was easy. It was not. There was one particular course I struggled with, structures. The first time I had to retake the exam. Then I struggled again. And at a point, I had to sit with myself. Not the kind of sitting where you just feel sorry for yourself. Not the kind where you blame the lecturer or blame the school or blame your background or blame everyone around you. No. I mean, I really sat with myself. I asked myself, Mobolaji, why are others passing and I am struggling? We're in the same class. We're hearing the same lectures. Are they better than me? No. So what's the difference? And the answer was painful. I was sailing along, just sailing along. I had ambition, I had intelligence, I had drive, but I had not taken ownership. I was attending classes, yes, but I was not building with intention. I was moving, but I had not really asked myself what kind of life I was constructing. And I think that's one of the most dangerous things you can do when you're young. Because drifting does not always look dangerous at first. It looks normal. It looks like I'm still figuring life out. I'm young. It looks like, let me just enjoy myself. It looks like there's still time. It looks like everybody's doing it. But drifting has a cost. When you drift, anything can carry you. Pressure can carry you. Friends can carry you. Fear can carry you. A relationship can carry you. Social media can carry you. Family expectations can carry you. Even culture can carry you. But when you're building, you ask questions. Where's this taking me? Who am I becoming? Is this habit helping my future or weakening me? Is this relationship building me or reducing me? Is this job growing me or trapping me? Is this friendship making me better or making me smaller? Am I choosing this because it is right or because I'm just afraid? That was what changed things for me. I decided I was not going to keep struggling with that course. So I went back to the basics. I started from scratch. I learned it again. I understood it properly. And by the time I returned to sit for the exam, I was teaching my co-reciters, the other people retaking the same course. The same course that once intimidated me became something I could explain to other people. That was not humiliation. That was preparation. And I want someone to hear this clearly. Sometimes the thing that embarrasses you today is the same thing God will use to give you depth tomorrow. Sometimes your struggle is not proof that you're finished. Sometimes it is proof that you need to stop sailing along and start building intentionally. And maybe this is where you are right now. You're not lazy. You're not unintelligent. You're not useless. You may just be sailing along in an area where God is asking you to take ownership. The second thing I would tell myself is this. Your 20s are foundation years. Let me speak to you as an architect for a moment. Before people admire a building, something hidden has already determined whether that building will stand. The foundation. Before the beauty, there's the foundation. Before the height, there's the foundation. Before the roof, there's the foundation. Before the decoration, the interiors, there's the foundation. A building's foundation determines what load it can carry, how high it can go, how long it can stand, whether it will crack under pressure, whether it will survive seasons. And life is not very different. You may not feel a weak foundation at 23. You may not even feel it at 25. You may not feel it when everybody is clapping, yes, and saying, yeah, you're doing well. But pressure reveals foundations. Work will test it. Marriage will test it. Money will test it. Success will test it. Failure will test it. Waiting will test it. Disappointment will test it. Responsibility will test it. That's why your 20s matter. Your 20s are not just waiting years. They are not empty years. They're not careless years. They are foundation years. Every relationship you choose, every habit you tolerate, every belief you accept, every compromise you normalize, every decision you keep postponing, every way you relate with God, these are not small things. They're structural decisions. And the danger is that small decisions do not always look structural when you're making them. A small habit, a small compromise, a small friendship, a small lie to yourself, a small delay, a small distance from God. But small things repeated over time become systems, and systems become lives. So when people say, enjoy your 20s, I agree. Enjoy them. I enjoyed mine. I did. Laugh, explore, learn, travel if you can, make friends, try things, gather experience, but do not confuse being carefree with being careless. Carefree means you have room to grow. Careless means you're ignoring what your life is becoming. There's a difference. And many people do not know they were being careless until the cost becomes higher. The habit you tolerated at 22 can become the battle you fight at 42. The relationship you entered casually at 24 can become the pain you carry at 44. The career path you accepted without thinking can become the life you feel trapped inside later. The distance from God you called freedom can become confusion when you need direction. So if I were in my 20s again, I would take my foundation more seriously. Not fearfully, seriously. Because I know that small decisions are not always small. Small decisions are load-bearing. The third thing I would tell myself is this. Choose relationships with more wisdom. I want to speak about relationships because this is one area where I have watched so much damage happening. And I'm not only talking about marriage. I'm talking about friendships, romantic relationships, mentors, business partners, colleagues, the people you allow to advise you, the people who you allow to shape your confidence, the people you allow to define what is normal for you. In your 20s, relationships feel emotional. Later, you realize relationships are actually structural. They can strengthen your life or they can bend it. Some people do not destroy your life loudly. They distract you quietly. They do not come and say, I'm here to waste your future. No. They just make you comfortable with less. Less discipline, less vision, less prayer, less excellence, less courage, less of the person God is calling you to become. And because it feels like love, friendship, or belonging, you may not notice what is costing you. When I was around 23, I remember thinking, I'm not even in a steady relationship. How am I going to get married? At that time, I was doing a 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. job. Even on Saturdays, I was working. So I understand pressure. Family pressure, social pressure. Friends were getting married. People were asking questions. That feeling that time is running out. The fear that if you do not decide quickly, life will leave you behind. But here is what I want you to know. Do not choose a life partner only based on who you are today. Choose with some understanding of who you're becoming. Because who you are at 25 may not be who you are at 45. The woman at 25 may be kind, ambitious, confused, pressured, hopeful, and still discovering herself. The man at 25 may also be becoming, learning, struggling, and forming. But by 45, life may be carrying more weight. Purpose, children, business, career, faith, leadership, responsibility, assignment. If the relationship cannot grow with the assignment, it may later resist the assignment. That's why in one of my previous conversations on relationships, I said that if a career-driven person, you must consider someone who can understand and support that direction. Because if you're becoming a builder, a leader, a career person, a business person, a person with assignment, a person with purpose, you cannot choose only from present emotion. You must ask deeper questions. Can this relationship carry the weight of my future? Does this person understand what I'm becoming? Am I choosing because of pressure or because of purpose? Can I grow here? Can I obey God here? Can I become more fully myself here? Does this person strengthen my assignment or quietly compete with it? These questions may sound too serious when you're young, but life becomes serious whether you prepare for it or not. So if I were in my 20s again, I would be more careful, not suspicious, not cold, not proud, careful. Because not everyone who likes you can build with you. Not everyone who is around you belongs in the structure of your life. Some people, they're just scaffolding. Some people, just decoration. Some people are load-bearing. Wisdom is knowing the difference. And I want to ask you something that you need to ask yourself honestly. Who in your life is helping you become more of who God is calling you to be? And who is quietly making you smaller? The fourth thing I would tell myself is this. Connect with God early and stay connected. If I were in my 20s again, I would connect with God early and I would stay connected. Not as performance, not so people can call me spiritual, not for appearance, but because life is too serious to build without a compass. Many people are not lost because they're bad people. They're lost because they build without direction. And let me tell you something about direction. Speed is dangerous when direction is wrong. You can be hardworking and still be going the wrong way. You can be intelligent and still be building the wrong way. You can be successful and still be empty. You can be admired and still be confused. You can look like you're progressing and still be moving further away from where God wanted you to be. That is why you need God early. Because God does not just give success, He gives direction. He gives conviction. He gives correction. He gives restraint. He gives wisdom. He gives the kind of peace that helps you to say no when everything around you says yes. He gives you the kind of courage that helps you to stand when people do not understand your path. And yes, I believe in second chances. I believe God restores. I believe what man has broken, God can restore when we're ready. I believe deeply in mercy because mercy found me. But restoration still requires humility. You must come. You must surrender. You must pick up the tools. In the parable of the laborers, not everyone started at dawn. Some came later, some came at the last hour, and the master still received them. But they still had to come. God is not only measuring when you started, He's looking at your readiness. His mercy is not a consolation prize. It's a construction material. But second chances do not build themselves. You still have to pick up the tools. You still have to return. You still have to obey. You still have to rebuild. So if you feel like you're late, hear me. You're not disqualified. But do not stay away because you think you have time. Come back early. Come back now. Start building with God while the foundation is still being poured. Because it's easier to build with a compass than to spend years trying to find your way back. The fifth thing I would tell myself is this. Fail differently. If I were in my 20s again, I would still fail, because failure is part of life. But I would fail differently. I would not turn failure into identity. I will not call myself what happened to me. I will not run away so quickly. I would sit with myself earlier. There are things about our lives we would rather not say. I would rather not say that I struggled with that course in uni. I would rather not say that there was a time I wondered if I could continue. I would rather not say that I felt far behind, but it is the truth. And the truth has power. Failure is painful. It can be embarrassing. It can make you question yourself. It can make you look at others and ask, why are they moving and I'm stuck? But failure is also information. It tells you where you're weak. It tells you where you've been pretending. It tells you where you need to go back to basics. It tells you where your foundation needs attention. The problem is that many people do not listen to failure. They only feel embarrassed by it. So they hide. They blame. They pretend. They move on too quickly without learning what the lesson was trying to teach them. But when I struggled, I had to go back. I had to start from scratch. I had to learn again. And that's something I want to say to every young person. There is no shame in starting from scratch. If starting from scratch gives you understanding, there is no shame in going back to the basics if the basics will save your future. There is no shame in admitting, I do not understand this yet. There is no shame in pretending while your foundation is weak. In architecture, before you build, there's site preparation. The site may look messy. There may be digging. There may be clearing. There may be testing. There may be things removed before anything beautiful can rise. That's how God sometimes works in us. What looks like delay may be preparation. What looks like embarrassment may be depth. What looks like failure may be instruction. What looks like struggle in my earlier years gave me mileage. And I believe someone watching this in that kind of season now, maybe for you, it's not a college course. Maybe it's your career. Maybe it's your marriage. Maybe it's your faith. Maybe it's your business. Maybe it's even your confidence. Maybe it's your identity. Maybe it's a dream you quietly dropped. Believe in it. Whatever it is, hear me. You're not finished. You are not finished. You're being prepared. But preparation only helps if you pay attention. The sixth thing I would tell myself is this. Use your carefree days with intention. I want to say this carefully because I do not want any young person to think I'm saying do not enjoy your life. Enjoy your life. Your 20s can be beautiful. There's an energy in that season that is precious. You can try things. You can move. You can learn. You can change direction. You can fail and rise again. You can gather experience. You can gain mileage. But use that season well. Because later in life, decisions carry more weight. When you're young, the cost of change may fall mostly on you. Later, it may involve a spouse, children, staff, clients, reputation, a company, a family, an institute, a whole structure of responsibilities. So use the lighter years well. Do not waste them trying to look like you have a life you have not actually built. Do not waste them proving a point to people who will not be there in 10 years. Do not waste them in relationships that keep reducing you. Do not waste them postponing God. Do not waste them pretending you're fine when you're drifting. Your 20s are not for panic, but they're not for sleepwalking either. They're for mileage. They're for foundation. They're for learning how to carry the life God is building through you. Freedom without direction is expensive wandering. And I know that line may sound strong, but it is true. Freedom without direction is expensive wandering. The seventh thing I would tell myself is this: life is a fight, but we fight from victory. It's interesting that when a child enters the world, one of the first things the child does is to cry. Not from joy, from the shock of resistance. From the beginning, life announces that there will be battles. So do not be shocked when life is not always easy. Do not be shocked when you face pressure. Do not be shocked when you make mistakes. Do not be shocked when you have to fight for clarity, discipline, peace, identity, and purpose. But here's what took me years to understand. We do not fight for victory. We fight from victory. If you know God, the victory is already settled. That does not mean there will be no battles. It means the battles do not define the end of your story. The failure does not define the end. The delay does not define the end. The wrong turn does not define the end. The difficult season does not define the end. You may feel buried, but you may only be underground. And there's a difference. Buried means it's over. Underground is where roots grow. So if you're in a season where nobody can see what God is doing, do not despise it. Roots are not public. Foundations are not glamorous. Site preparation is not beautiful. But without them, nothing lasting can stand. So if I were in my 20s again, this is what I would tell myself. Do not just sail along. Do not just flow into a course, a job, a relationship, a friendship, a habit, or a life. Ask questions. What am I building? Who is helping me to build? Who is weakening the structure? Where am I pretending? Where do I need to go back to the basics? Where do I need to start again? Choose your relationships carefully. Stay connected to God. Enjoy your youth, but use it wisely. Do not run from failure. Learn from it. Do not be ashamed to start from scratch. You do not need to know the full blueprint at 22, but you need direction. Purpose does not require certainty. It requires willingness. I did not know everything when I started. There were moments I felt behind. There were moments I struggled. There were moments I questioned whether I could continue. But by the grace of God, I kept building. And today I can say this: I have built multiple firms. I have led. I have served. I have raised a family. I have stood before presidents, ministers, kings, and leaders. But the most important thing I have learned is this: the foundation does not have to be perfect for the structure to be extraordinary, but you must become intentional about what is being built. So I want to ask you one question, and I want you to answer it honestly. Not for me, for yourself. Are you building? Or are you just sailing along? And if this message met you in a season where you need to stop drifting, write this down. Write it in your journal. Write it in your notes. Write it in the comments if you want to make it public. I am building with intention. Because sometimes the moment you name a thing is the moment you begin to change it. You're not behind. You're in preparation. But preparation is only powerful when you pay attention. So, pay attention. God is building something. And your life is the site.